Hi, welcome. Um, I am starting a new YouTube channel dedicated to my journey trying to get cultured, talking music, wine, food, art, ballet, um, insert cultured category here. Um, and so one of the first things I wanted to go over was my journey into Chardonnays. I grew up in a household that had basically one type of Chardonnay that my mom really liked, and it was Kendall Jackson. And I tried it a couple of times, and it wasn't for me. I think it's a really oaky wine, and I just kind of wrote off Chardonnays in general. I had a really, really delicious one a couple days ago, or a week or so ago, maybe, at a restaurant, and I realized that I've written off an entire category of wine that actually is quite good. So the first thing I did is I went to Binny's. I'm from Chicago, so that's our beverage depot of choice. And they pointed me, I told them that I was asking ChatGPT about what it is that I liked in it. And so the wine, I can't remember exactly what it was. I think it's Guerlain Chardonnay, something like that. And they said that that was a very crisp, mineral forward Chardonnay. So I went to Binny's, asked them for something along that line, and they pointed me in the direction of this Chablis. Now, I don't know if anybody else was super confused by the naming conventions of wines, but depending on whether you're talking about in the US, in the New World, which is considered like South Africa, Australia, I think South America as well, they're typically named more after the grapes and then the vineyards, whereas in Europe, typically the naming conventions are around the regions that the grapes are grown. So that's why you might see, if you get a white wine in the US, it'll say like Chardonnay and then maybe the vineyard that it came from. And then if you go to France, if you go somewhere, somewhere else, Germany, they're going to talk about the region that it's from. So in that case, it might be Bourgogne, I believe is how you pronounce this. So this is a Chablis, which is actually made with Chardonnay grapes, I learned. So yeah, poured myself a glass. I'm eating it with some pantry pasta. You want to typically pair something like this with fish is a really good one. And then something maybe a little bit lighter as well. So you wouldn't want to do like a tomato sauce with this because it really brings out the acidity and bitterness in a bad way. So I'm not going to pretend I know what I'm talking about. The whole point of this is that I know nothing, and if you can advise me more on what I should and shouldn't be doing, or how to recognize the different notes and things, let me know. But this smells, it doesn't smell very like citrusy or fruit forward. You can almost smell the minerality. And so again, I looked up minerality, which is, this is all really subjective. So here I was thinking that wine is always like there's a right answer and a wrong answer. It's all incredibly subjective. So minerality is basically pointing to, rather than saying that there's notes of citrus or notes of cherry or chocolate or whatever it is, this is saying that like there are literally notes of like rock, of soil. Think like cold water going over some shale or slate or something. And similarly to wines that people will talk about have, citrus notes or chocolate notes or cherry notes or whatever, there's none of those things actually in the wine. So that's usually pointing to the terroir, which is pointing to like the soil, climate, and vineyard conditions. And then the grapes itself. And then sometimes there's additives, typically, like you would hope not, but all of these, this is why it's so subjective, is there is no like real, none of these notes are like actually put in. They're not putting citrus into the wine. This is all just based off of how you're experiencing it. So that being said, you can really smell the minerality there. And I think it's typically pointing to more of a mouthfeel, but now that I know that this is a mineral forward glass of wine, you really can smell it. And so it's a lot less tart than the typical white wines that I usually go for, which is like a Sauvignon Blanc. It goes down really smoothly, but it is a little bit mineral forward for me. To me, it ends up tasting kind of viscous almost, and this is good, but it's not my favorite. I did try pairing this last night, so I opened this last night with a couple different really trashy desserts. So I tried it with the Little Debbie's birthday cake cream pies, and then I also paired it with grapes, and then I paired it also with peach rings. And surprisingly enough, the peach rings were the big winner. It really cut down on some of that minerality and gave it like a certain brightness that it didn't have by itself. And yeah, I'm sure that there is something that's less processed and more delicious to pair with it, but I was just kind of seeing what was available. Funny enough, grapes were a really bad pairing with this. It really made it kind of bitter, and it made it kind of tough to go down. And even on its own, the wine was not quite so hard to swallow. It wasn't so bitter, acidic. So something about pairing it with really actually delicious green grapes brought out something really bad in the wine. So again, this is Domaine Louis Moreau. Sorry, my French is awful. It's a Chablis, and I would give this, it's 2023 as well. I would give this like a 3-ish out of 5. That's still a decent wine. I would drink it again, but I'm not going out of my way to buy this. This was, I think, $26. And that's kind of the range that I'm going in for right now until I learn a little bit more and can appreciate like just better wines. I'm going to stick in that approximate price range, probably a little bit lower sometimes as well. Awesome. Well, thanks for coming along. If you have any comments about what is to be expected in a wine like this, if you've tried this wine, if you have any recommendations for a wine, for a Chablis, for a Chardonnay that is a little bit more fruit forward, a little bit more citrusy, let me know, because I think that's going to be more in my range. Thank you. Bye.